Welcome back. Still to come, the importance of the soft vote in this election, why it remains a problem for Labor in this final week. But first, it's all go as we enter the last few days before Saturday polling day, although lots of you have pre-polled already. So it's time to check in now with Liberal HQ. Joining me, campaign spokesman, Shadow Home Affairs Minister James Patterson. Senator, welcome. Thank you. I want to start with this claim from the Prime Minister last night in the debate over the deficit that Labor supposedly inherited.
We inherited a deficit of $78 billion. We turned that into a $22 billion surplus.
This was something that Phil Coorey, in an earlier debate, already had fact-checked the PM on, though. Have a listen.
PM, look, you mentioned your two surpluses tonight, and if I can just take issue, the $78 billion you inherited deficit was actually a forecast. The actual number was $31 billion.
That was forecast by the former government.
Sure, but the actual number was 31.
So when he keeps getting caught out, James, he just doubles down. How do you contend with this in a campaign?
Peter, the Prime Minister is literally shameless when it comes to these things like that. It's not possible to embarrass him from telling lies. That's just one of many that he's told. In fact, we're up to 88 lies as of today by our tracking with the Prime Minister. Full credit to Phil Coorey for fact-checking him like that, for calling him out like that. Frankly, I wish a bit more members of the Fourth Estate would do the same, not to assist the Liberal Party, but in the interest of democracy and voters being properly informed to make their decision at this election. We'll keep calling out these lies, but the truth is, if the Prime Minister's willing to say anything, it is pretty hard to shut them all down.
Well, what about the lie I just discussed with Dennis Shanahan over Russia's push in Indonesia and his revelations today in the Australia that the government was aware of these conversations, that it was briefed prior to the election, and that it is still denying you, under the rules of the Caretaker Convention, a proper security briefing? How do you combat that?
This is a particularly egregious and dangerous lie, Peter, because it's a lie about our national security. And no Prime Minister should stoop to such a low level as this Prime Minister has on this issue. As you were discussing, he has compared this to a fake moon landing, and his Minister, Murray Watt, has compared it to a Loch Ness Monster. And then he has the gall to claim that he is the adult when it comes to questions like this. It's increasingly clear that the Prime Minister and his senior ministers have lied to the Australian public about this Russian proposal to base air assets in our region, in Indonesia, and that is a shocking thing to do. The Prime Minister should front up and provide the briefing, as is tradition, as is bipartisan tradition in this area.
It's not just the national campaign on the national stage where these lies are coming thick and fast. Have a look at this at a local level. There is a claim in the seat of Flinders, which is down the coast outside of Melbourne, that the government, that Peter Dutton, has cut $50 billion from hospitals, and there's this image that he's cut funding to the Rosebud Hospital. Well, here are the facts. There are no cuts. The Rosebud Hospital is, in fact, a state hospital. The only people pledging to fix it, to fund it, are the state Liberal Party, some $300 million. State Labor, well, they're refusing to put any money in. Again, how do you combat this in a must-win seat like Flinders?
Well, that's absolutely right, Peter, and the facts are these. When Peter Dutton was Health Minister, and for our entire time in government, funding to hospitals increased every single year. There was not one year when hospital funding declined, and there are no hospitals around Australia that had less funding because of the Liberal Party. We increased funding for hospitals significantly on our watch. Again, Labor and the Teals, in this case, are willing to say anything in order to win, and I think we should hold them to a very high standard because, in particular, in the case of the Teals, they paraded themselves as being virtuous paragons of honesty and integrity, but they behaved completely differently since they got elected to Parliament. And it's up to us in the opposition, but also the media and the public, to hold them to the standard they set for themselves.
James, just on this vein, I mean, how concerned are you in relation to Chinese Communist Party links they're alleged, in relation to the seat of Kooyong, and people apparently telling voters to support Monique Ryan?
I'm very concerned by these reports in The Age newspaper by Paul Sakal. They suggest that someone connected to the United Front Work Department, which Xi Jinping has described as the magic weapon of the Chinese Communist Party to influence people overseas, have been directing people to work on Monique Ryan's campaign. Now, this must be investigated as a matter of foreign interference by the Australian Federal Police and ASIO as part of the Electoral Insurance Integrity Task Force. And Monique Ryan must be transparent and open about what she knew about this alleged foreign interference scheme and whether she was involved in it in any way. Because Australia's elections should be decided by Australians only, not the long arm of a foreign authoritarian state.
Senator Patterson, thank you. Let's cross now